Hey guys, I have a battle for you here using my Quandra Ren 66's theme team. This battle was done before I began the tournament, and I'm only releasing it after the tournament's over, or I worked out a while ago. It was quite a while ago. I'm not quite sure who we're against, but it's a 30-minute battle, and I normally speed my battles up so they're double the speed to say 15 minutes if it was a 30-minute battle, but I've sped this up even more to try and condense it into approximately 8 to 10 minutes is my guess is what it's going to turn out to be. Just because there's a lot of tactical switching that goes on, making this quite a strategic game. Even though I've already taken down one of his guys, there's still a long way to go. He goes for magic coat twice. Not sure why. Maybe thought I'd go for another move of some sort, but the stealth rock just gets bounced back. The first one I did not predict whatsoever. Stealth Rock getting Magic Oak, that is very unlikely. Probably predicted me to go for Stealth Rock the first time, but I just saw Psycho Boost take out his Mian Shao, which is a pretty good thing. I guess he's just going to go for the Reflect now, knowing that he's not going to win this war. I'm just going to keep on going Stealth Rock, because I know that if this match comes down to switches, that's what it's going to go down to. And if he needs to Rapid Spin, I can go into one of my guys and possibly get a free-ish switch. He just gets Rapid Spin off, but I get to get a free guy in there and take out his Rapid Spin and possibly set up Stealth Rock again. So I reckon this is all I can do. I go into my Venusaur basically because he can't touch me in any way, but then I realise I can't really do anything to him either, so I'm going to go into my Sharpedo just because I can hit it with a Choice Bandage Crunch, and if I go in I get also a speed boost, so it's a win-win-ish situation. Just gonna go for the crunch, no point over-predicting. I already over-predicted kind of at the beginning of the game, so he might be thinking that I over-predict too much, so maybe he would stay in. But that's not the case. He goes into his Scrafty. Gonna go to Venusaur, which is specially defensive bulky, but I reckon I can take a physical hit or two, knowing that he's not gonna go for the Dark Move since Sharpedo resists it, just in case I'm not Choice Banded or Choice Scarfed. But he goes for the bulk up, unfortunately, which isn't the best thing. He knows he can't touch me, or maybe he thinks I can hit him in some way, shape or form, maybe a Toxic, something like that. I'm just going to go for the Raw, because I just didn't want him to get in a lot of bulk ups ready. As you can already see, there's a lot of switching that's going on. There's only 1 minute in the battle. I presume he's going to switch in, stay in here, and using that fact, I'm just going to go for the Sleep Powder, knowing he's not going to go into Celebi again. And even if he does go into Celebi, I can just roar it out the next turn and then sleep whatever comes in anyway. So knowing that he can't do anything to me, and I've got a kind of free switch, I'm going to go into my Machamp here, hoping he's not going to switch, but unfortunately he does. He goes into his own Fistmaster. I have my forearms out, both fighting type guys, and his Breloom, and of course Spore is gonna come. So I'm going to go for the Bullet Punch just in case he doesn't go for the Spore. He goes for the Substitute of some reason, just to get in that extra smidgen of damage using NBZ term. And I'm going to go into my Venusaur, knowing once again it is a very good wall to most of his guys, but he goes straight for the Focus Punch, knowing I'm going to do this. Even if I stayed in, he would get a free Focus Punch on my Machamp. Good for him that he didn't go for the Substitute, because then I would just roar him out and he would get less damage on me, or same amount of damage, but he doesn't get to Scout as well. Gonna go for the Hidden Power Fire here, because I carry it just because it can hit the grass types that resist my Giga Drain, and just because it's good coverage with grass generally, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go for the Roar here, predicting a switch, predicting him to think that I'm gonna go for the Hidden Power Fire again, and going into Heatran. I could have possibly switched him a Champ, but I wasn't 100% confident, so it was a 50-50 chance that if anything went wrong, not too big of a deal. If anything went right, then I get a good benefit, but if I went to Machamp and something went wrong, I would have a dead Machamp, and I also need it for Sleep Follow, of course. Gonna go for the Giga Drain, just to get a bit of damage, and his Heatran completely walls my Venusaur. So it's a pretty good Storefest between my Venusaur, his fighting guys, and his Heatran. And I'm sure that if I keep Venusaur alive, I have got a good chance of winning this game. He, however, doesn't know I have a Porygon 2. Well, he does know I have a Porygon 2, which he predicts, but he can't do anything to the Porygon 2, even if he knows I'm there. Fortunately, I see the Life Orb here. I didn't know he was Scarfed or anything before, so now I know that I can outspeed him with quite a few of my guys, and I know that my upgrade or my Porygon 2 can come in safely on him on a fire move, even on a ground move such as Earth Power, and just recover up all that hit points if needed. The Celebi comes in, just gonna go for the Thunder Wave. I'm not sure quite why, maybe predicted some sort of switch. I'm not too fast, just gonna go for the recover, just seeing what he can do to me. Maybe he can Leech Seed, maybe he can Giga Drain, maybe he can Hidden Flower Fire, even possibly Leaf Storm Specs, but I see leftovers of course. I know there's really nothing he can do to me, and I can do a bit of damage with Ice Beam, so he's just gonna go for the Leech Seed. I'm gonna go for a bit of Ice Beam action, and it does a decent amount of damage, considering it is a Porygon 2 with practically no special attack investment, and it's a Celebi of course. He's getting racked up toxic damage, so he's either going to go for the recover or switch out. Recover is probably the worst choice out of those two, since I would just go for another Ice Beam and then the toxic would rack up again, so I'm just going to predict a switch and go for the toxic, which nicely hits that Cresselia. So now like his walls are toxic. I know Celebi has natural cure, but having a wall that's on low health, another wall that's toxic, his Scrafty is not going to be able to do too much, his Heatran's not going to be able to do too much as long as I have my Porygon 2, so all in all it's not looking too bad, but I really need a Wall Breaker, and then Cresselia uses Lunar Dance, which I did not predict. Not many people use Lunar Dance with Cresselia, even though it's a pretty decent move. I get a speed boost, which isn't that beneficial, and he goes back into Celebi, and he gets all that health back. And of course his natural cure would remove his toxic health even if he didn't get that Moonlight boost. Stealth Rock goes after Moonlight, which is unfortunate for me. Maybe if they were on lower health they would have been knocked out, but not in this case, but in another situation of course. He's going to go for Leech Seed. I know he can't touch my Venusaur, so I may as well go in. He's probably going to go into Heatran here. I'm not quite sure. One of his guys already asleep. I can't do anything to him. He does switch out. And being safe, I'm just going to go for the Hidden Flower Fire, which unfortunately gives the Heatran a flash boost, but overall doesn't really affect the game, since I also have Porygon 2 in the wings, just in case I need any backup. He makes a great play here, predicting me to go into Porygon 2, knowing that it is a perfect Heatran counter, so he goes into his own Breloom, because he predicted really well, and then we got a free substitute for that. He obviously goes for the Focus Punch. I know there's no point not going for a Roar, so I'm gonna go for it, and I've sped up this part of the battle because it gets a bit repetitive, and now you generally know what the gist of things are going on. He's switching, I'm switching, and it's gonna go to some one fatal moment when one of our sweepers comes in and just cleans off the game. And his sweepers, unfortunately for him, aren't actually that fast. His Heatran is the fastest, and it's Life Orb, so it's not really that fast at all. So he's going to go into Scrafty, which in itself needs to rack up a couple of bulk ups and is quite slow on its own too. And it also can't take out my Venusaur. His Breloom is quite slow and can't do much either, so I know my Deoxys is the perfect switch in to take out all these guys. Or at least dent them significantly. I'm not going to go for the over prediction because I just need to take as many guys as possible, and most Deoxys don't carry superpower, though we did see I was a offensive variant. Gonna go for Giga Drain here, which is unfortunate. It puts me on my last limbs, but he doesn't go for the kill, which is very weird. He chooses to get that free switch into Breloom. If I went for the Ice Beam for any reason, he would be knocked out, but here I make a nice prediction, hoping the paralysis wouldn't occur, and get a free Ice Beam and kill off that Breloom. I've got my second kill down, and I've taken down one of these sweepers that were in that constant rotation, so now he's lost one cog that he could turn to if needed. But I also lost my Venusaur in the process. Well, not in the process, but just about after. So we both lost one cog in there, but he now loses Heatran because of that constant switching. He's losing that health, and none of his guys have much recovery. Unlike my Porygon 2, which is my main wall in this team. I'm gonna go into Forearms just because it's asleep and his Breloom's now gone, so I may as well try and wake up as soon as possible, because there's no point in me just keeping him a champ because he's not going to be doing too much. If anything, he's going to be a hindrance to the team in general, so I may as well take him out if needed. Unfortunately, I'm not being able to get one of his guys to sleep with my Venusaur in time, but what can you do? Just gonna go for the Bullet Punch. May as well get as little damage as possible. It's irrelevant because his leftovers and his Giga Drain recover him, but whatever, that was pointless. Just gonna go into my Raikou here, knowing that none of his guys can really take me on anymore. Just gonna go for the Hidden Power Ice. Hopefully it would have taken out the Celebi. What can you do? Just gonna go into Deoxys. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory now. I just have to hit his guys as fast and as hard as possible with everything that my sweepers have got. Unfortunately, his Celebi resists both my Deoxys moves, and his Scrafty takes my Raikou pretty easily. I'm just going to keep on trying to batter down the Celebi as much as possible. I'm presuming it doesn't have recover because it hasn't used it yet, and he's used Lunar Dance to heal him back, and that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to go for the extreme speed after I've lost my special attack, or half my special attack. I'm going to go into my Sharpedo, and here comes a very important prediction, whether I would go for the Crunch or whether I should go for the Waterfall. I choose to go for the Crunch. Probably not the best choice. I debated about that for a very long time. Now the momentum is in his side again, because he's got the recovery, his Celebi and his Scrafty. If I predicted well on that turn, it would have been nice, but now we can just go for constant bulk ups, and I really can't do much. So I'm just going to keep on going for the Ice Beams, and I get a freeze, which is excruciatingly nice, because if I didn't get that, I would have lost. Crit is irrelevant now, it just makes the ice look even worse. But he thaws out a bit too late now. He only gets a bit of recovery, and I can go to my Raikou, get a Specs Thunderbolt off, and take him out for almost the game. Switch back into my Sharpedo if needed, and go back for the Hidden Power Ice for the final knockout. But I don't need to, I can just go for the Thunderbolt, knowing he can't recover it. Even if he gets half back, Choice Banded Crunch from a Sharpedo will definitely take him out. He gets the Paralysis, irrelevant of course, but it makes me now faster for sure. Gets a bit of leftovers recovery, I'm just talking what it's saying now, and he unfortunately flees. So it was a great game, came down to a nice few predictions, a nice bit of hacks at the end in my favour. I don't know what it would have turned out if it didn't happen. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a longer game that I would normally upload, but yeah, hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't the greatest narration because it was pretty self-explanatory what was going on. But yeah, for the final time, hope to see you in the near future.